Welcome to the Wicked Radio Network.
Recorded to you live from the waiting room of Nelson and Murdoch, where we're enjoying the free bananas. This is the Wicked Theory Podcast. This is the Wicked Theory Podcast. I'm your host. My name's Bill Sweeney. I'm back again with some friends, but one's missing. Let's throw it around the room. Let's say hello to Dom. No, he's not here. Let's say hello to Ed.
Hi, guys.
Let's say hello to my brother Bob on guitar.
Hello, hello.
Ooh, gentle. I like it. All right, kids, we're back. It's been another week. Our buddy Dom, he's away. He's hanging out with some friends. That's all right. I mean, we'll get over it.
Sometimes he's a little too good for us.
I mean, I don't want to say that, but...
We're not his friends.
He's got more than just us, I guess. He's got to divide the time.
Yeah.
So what you're saying, he's a friendly guy.
He's yes.
That's
true.
We're just jealous because he actually
has friends besides.
He has a social life,
right? And I had to put together a podcast for me to find some people to spend time with me.
Well, it's better than like building people like you used to do.
Well, that was messy, complicated, and messy.
Yeah. And Frankenstein is not a good how-to.
It's not. Yeah. It's you'd think that the book would have some steps in there, but it really doesn't. It's very vague. It's very vague.
you try and outline things like there might be hints on how to go about it.
You could tell he definitely did not have a copy editor.
Yeah. Didn't do a lot of research, I think.
I think he was kind of winging it too. So that might have been the problem.
I think so. So we're back. We're gonna get around to doing some fun stuff on this episode, maybe, depending on your opinion. Coming out the other side. I'd like to say it's going to be fun.
I'm excited.
Well, that's good. That's good. We're going to roll with that. Feel the excitement. For, we're going to do some emails in a little bit.
Yeah.
Ed's familiar with that. News is a little thin this week, but we got a couple of things we're going to hit, and maybe a little ranting at a certain point. And then later on, we're going to break down some Daredevil as much as we can. Maybe we're going to go a little heavier on the non-spoiler side since, although me and Bob managed to crunch in 6.2 02 episodes, right?
Okay.
I don't know. What would you count the
opening,
the cold open before the credits? How much of a percent of an episode is that? Like,
it's probably like 5%.
That's 5%. Yeah, right. Because it's these are full 1 hour episodes actually.
Yeah, well, and sometimes see like with TV shows now, it used to be like we'll do like 2 minutes and then the opening. Now, like the opening credits come like after the first act.
Yeah. They play both ways. Sometimes it's like super short. That cold open, like, you know what I mean? Other times, like you're saying, it's like, I remember I watched an episode of Gotham. I almost forgot that the opening credits didn't happen because it took so long to get to them.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Some of them, it's all the way to the first break.
Yeah. And that just takes you out to commercial. Yeah. And it's like, logo. Oh, like, oh, yeah, that's right. But, so, we could do some emails, I guess. I mean, right?
All right.
I mean, well, actually, you know what? Let's do official business real quick.
Okay.
All right. So just to put it out there, the Markham movie collection will come back, I think, next week because Don will be here.
Right.
And
sorry, Grant.
Sorry, Grant.
We're
going to skip it because we want to have the full team together when we do that.
Yeah. I have appreciated the month off to get that bad taste out of my mouth from
Bob's never going to let it go.
No, you know what? I think we just dropped this subject right now. That's probably best for for all parties involved.
We all love the idea that Grant came up with.
It's a great segment. Absolutely.
I guess it's, on my end, it's a bit of an exercise in, just because someone else likes something doesn't mean you're gonna.
Well, that's what the thing is about pop culture and entertainment anyway. That's what we don't discuss enough, I think. A lot of times on this show, we agree in a lot. Like, if something's not cool, we all pick up that vibe. Like, we don't have enough disagreement probably on the show in general. Like, we don't get enough drama going. But not that I want drama.
Grant really liked that movie, The Dark Backward. I came out totally on the other end of it.
Yeah.
And it might have been a little disconcerting at first.
Mm.
As Grant had an idea with how this was going to go, And I guess
fair enough.
For me, anyway, it didn't go that way for him.
And, and it was only those first movies.
And I was
I
was a little harsh in what I was saying about the movie. Because it did really leave a bad taste in my mouth. But
and you seem not to want to let it go.
But no,
I'll get over it.
You explained.
I know it's the go-to joke. Yeah. So I'm just playing along.
You explained yourself. You justified your opinion.
Fucking Ed.
I mean, it was literally a taste of garbage.
Well, all right. It was the fucking first
people
round.
Eat garbage in the movie. That's the joke.
All right. It was the first round. It was the first round of the movies. It was going to be tough.
Next order of business.
If people want to go back and listen to that, there's.
I actually have Hard Candy this time, and I hear it's a pretty good movie. So
there you go.
Oh, yeah, that's a treat.
So, it is. It is good. Also, I just want to throw out there, last week's episode with Ed Heavey, it was a really great episode. If anybody's like coming into us now,
that's a good point to jump in.
I don't want to say, hey, we don't have a lot of great episodes, but that's one of the good ones. I off the top that, the time Sokka was on, go back for that. But if, these are a couple of our standout episodes, and
both of them the ones that little break away from our standard mold too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like
Sokko's a big talker, and that was great. We got a lot of great stuff out.
And generally,
Ed
I feel
had
like
a lot to say and a lot to offer in his episode.
I feel like generally, like for us, whenever we have a guest, it allows us to break the format. Like, you know what I mean? We don't have to go to news. The time is going to shift out. Like, you know what I mean? Because we spend time getting to know them, at least that first time.
Right, and we want to make sure that that we get a lot out of them and that they have a good time and they can say as much as they want.
Yep, and and also doing stuff like the quiz. That's why I'm interested to see that to have certain people back soon, and then have more time with them. Like and dig deeper into their psychosis. And the nerdy psychosis.
Right.
And if last week's episode was the first time you listened, you're sticking around, hey, welcome.
Welcome back. Thanks for checking us out again. Hopefully
we'll apologize now. So
hopefully you're mildly entertained now to continue listening to this episode. And maybe even stick around to episode 50. We're 5 episodes away. This is 45. We're just a few episodes away of doing something, trying to put something together a little different, a little special for episode 50. I don't want to guarantee anything. But maybe we'll do something live.
We may have co-opted a team of trained monkeys, and we're trying to get them to put together a the thing, nice little project.
It's hard to retrain monkeys sometimes.
Although we're not going to be able to get Slayer, so I think I'm going to end up being a one-man band for the show. I'm going to get the bass drum. I'm going to kick the bass drum with my heel and
see now
get the little capuchin monkey.
I'll buy you that setup. If we can get you going with a one-man band with the cymbals between the knees.
Oh, it'd be like
the
harmonica hanging
the harmonica off the thing,
like and Bird and Mary Poppins.
Basically, yeah.
I'm down. Keep the little amp on my belt.
That's it. And then you can make money on the side and the subways too.
Yeah, unless I get beat up in the subway.
Well, you need a permit.
Walking around like that.
Well, that's true. You might need to file some forms nowadays. But I'm down, is what I'm saying. And then
maybe we can get the midget version, Little Slayer.
Get Mini Slayer in here, get like Mini Kiss or one of these kinds of things. And also, I just want to tease real quick because the pilot episode aired at South by Southwest, but Preacher has gotten a little bit of buzz behind it because as we get closer now, we know that the start date's going to be March 22nd. And the reason I bring this up is not only because I'm obsessed, with the book and all that, and we've all read it, except for Ed at this particular juncture.
Maybe.
Wait,
March 22nd or May 22nd?
May 22nd. March.
I'm like,
what's the 3-month difference?
It's Tuesday?
It's right around the corner. Right. Thank you for catching that, buddy. It's May 22nd. They finally released a date, and it's May 22nd, which is going to be a Sunday. So it's going to be a little bit of a challenge. And what I was getting to is just that we are doing a second podcast. Because what we've realized, or what I realized, is that when this show comes, all we would want to do is when those episodes air is devote way too much time to it. So we've branched out in a way where we're going to do a recap show that's kind of like a little different. It's a companion comparison podcast is the way I kind of phrased it.
Called Preacher versus Preacher.
That's right. And it's on iTunes right now. It's on Libsyn if you want to track it down on Libsyn too. But the best place to find it is either on the Preacher vs. Preacher account, or Preach vs. Preach account on Twitter, or on iTunes. And subscribe to it. And this way, if we do a second kind of tease episode leading up, which we may, you'll be fully aware of it. It'll be in your subscription box, whatever that is. And I'm getting, I'm getting really jazzed up. We got a few people on the hook for that are going to play along with us. And the way that it's going to be different is that we're going to try and really compare it to the comic as opposed to it being just us rehashing the episode. But we'll also be highly critical of it. So people who are fans of it are really nervous because they're seeing some changes already, and they're like, "Oh, this is going to suck, bro. This is going to suck," and maybe it will. Hopefully, I don't hate the show to the point where I don't want to do the podcast anymore.
Could be.
But I mean, anything could happen, right? I've seen other
it's certainly possible
companion podcasts fall apart because of that. Like people all of a sudden just realized, oh, this show isn't as good, and then it doesn't last. But I think we're going to do something special over there.
Doing that whole Joey podcast.
I don't know what that means.
It was a spinoff of Friends.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. The Joey podcast was
the Joey companion podcast.
Could you imagine 3 episodes in, but they only did 1 episode of the podcast? All right, so I guess with that we can jump into emails. I think emails. Ed, you're familiar with emails?
Yes, I am. In fact, I sent a few of them. You want to hear some of the Ed mails for this week?
Let me set you up, Ed. Our friend Ed isn't here every week, but when he is here, we make him read his own damn emails.
Oh, yeah.
Because he sends them every week.
All right.
Ed, you can start wherever and whenever, but I hoped it was going to be promptly. So
all right,
now is good.
All right, let's kick it right off. Gentlemen, would Channing Tatum look better with bleach blonde hair?
He wouldn't look better with hair, without hair, dark hair, white hair. I don't know.
Yeah, as long as he's got those chiseled abs going, that's all that matters to me most.
Those pecs?
Because that seems to be the high point of his talent. Because that seems to be, I bet you if you did like a little, SEO data collection on the web and looked up what people talk about most when they talk about Chatham, I think it's just his abs.
His abs?
It seems to be.
Yeah, well, his
those traps.
You know how
they are a trap.
You know how the Hollywood leading men actors, they all have the chiseled looks.
Yeah.
He doesn't. His look like they're not quite done. He's like he's got all the angles. He's got all the angles in his face.
He needs a little longer in the oven.
Like God didn't finish chiseling things out.
He's a little bit of a rush job.
Like no, not that he's rushed. It's just like everything's smooth where there should still be a little work done.
Yeah. He's got a different kind of shape.
Right.
A little bit of that baby face.
Don't see you don't see like depth in his cheekbones.
Yeah, he's a little bit rounder.
I mean? Right. It's like he's supposed to be round-faced, but he's not round-faced anyway.
All right, we're talking way too long about his good looks.
Another thing, too much. What's going on with
this fucking show? This show is over
Next
already.
question. Yeah. Gentlemen.
Yeah.
How well would Spider-Man do on America's Got Talent?
Oof. I think he could do pretty good, man. He's just going to come up with a good routine and change it up every week. The key is to have that backup material.
Absolutely.
You can come through hard in that first week of a show like that, man. But if you don't bring it to week 3, week 5, and week 9, you ain't going to last, man.
Is he going to get that Vegas contract?
He can do it because he's got that entertainment experience. He was a wrestler.
Well, personality goes a long way. And if that guy Piff the Dragon, if he can go that far on just being a fucking smartass who barely says much, I think Parker can take it all the way.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's quick. He's got quick wit.
The only thing is, he's got to sign a release, so I don't know if they'll take the Spider stuff. They might need the real kind of, taxes and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Didn't he pull off the mask at one point?
In Civil War. So sure, I mean, as long as Civil War is going on and his identity is public, then I guess it's
why not?
If we're following the comics, who knows what happens in the movie. Next question, Edward.
All right, gentlemen.
Sir.
How many of you were clamoring for a Ben-Hur remake?
You watched the trailer. I didn't see it. Clamoring? If that's the true nature of this question, if that's what you really want to know, nobody. And I don't think anybody was clamoring for it.
No. Didn't think that 1959 classic that won 11 Oscars. You didn't look at it and say, you know what? I think we could do better.
Different time.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. It's funny though too because I think that by making this, it kind of breaks a seal a little bit. It's starting to be this breaking of a seal on certain movies. It didn't seem like they were ever going to be remade.
Yeah.
And
yeah, you're right.
That's an interesting list maybe to try and rattle off because I think Psycho falls under that. That remake of Psycho. I didn't think anybody would ever try to, just out of respect for the original material. It's like, why? Why do it? Why bother? It's like Citizen Kane.
Well, they don't have respect
or Casablanca.
anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have respect anymore. It's all about the cash grab.
Well, that's basically what it comes down to a sense, or over inflated sense of ego or purpose.
Right.
That but why not? Like, the counter. It's like, I want to do it. Well, why do it? Well, why not do it? Yeah. And it's like, that's not a good enough answer because it doesn't dig.
It's really a non-answer.
It's really a non-answer. And other than that, it sounds like you're deflecting a little bit maybe from it's like, well, I just have what I think is an amazing version of it in my head. Well, let's just take the risk on that.
But that's great. But we already have an amazing version of it on film.
Perfect
answer. Well,
it's
also, if you see the trailer and what's evident in the trailer, the direction that they're going in with this movie, because
is it dark and gritty?
Well, because
we're going to give an iPhone and roller skates.
You could have gone in two different places. Cause,
we're going to update it.
Because the actually there was a version of the 20s, a silent movie, and then the movie in the 50s, and then there was a book that's based on. But it's this big sweeping religious epic that has a giant chariot race in the middle of it. So it could be like a sword and sandals epic, but it's also this religious epic, and sort of like a la like 10 Commandments or something like that.
So it's basically like that meets Fast and Furious, is what you're telling me.
Well, but the thing is, like this,
is that what we're ending up with?
This trailer shows
Almost Furious.
Like I think Jesus is on screen for 2 seconds to say, okay, religion is in here somewhere,
right?
But it's basically looks like we're going hard line in like the Gladiator 300 direction.
I wonder how much the story deviates from
and it's like there are two very different audiences that you could target with this movie, which is the hardcore, nonsensical action movie crowd that are into like 300 or like Fast and Furious, like you were talking about, or you go with the hardcore religious Christian spiritual crowd, and it went straight in the first direction.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. It's like how much of this movie is going to be suffer from the misdirection of too many trailers, kind of in a way.
Yeah,
because they'll probably do that with a movie like this, where they don't know which way to really sell it. They're going to end up having trailers that feel very different, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think what we're going to end up with is we're going to cut to actor with giant barrel on his back. It's just starting his trek across the desert. Hard cut to about 2 hours worth of like slaughter and horses and racing across the desert. And then hard cut back to him putting the barrel down on the other side and going, the end.
Well, which raises a question: Do you know off the top who's behind the scenes?
I don't
directing
know.
or anything like that.
I don't know,
because I don't know if that would be much of an indicator.
All I know is Morgan Freeman has dreadlocks, and that's
Morgan.
And
is that even like
correct? He's like. And
it might be.
And he's coaching him for like a training montage of how to drive a chariot.
You can do it, Rock. You can do it.
Okay, man.
Don't remember
like
from
this.
The original.
You got to do this thing right
Bobby
here, man.
has dreadlocks and goes Jamaican.
Well, hang on. How did Jamaican?
What else do you know with dreadlocks?
He's the one Jamaican out in the desert right now. Like, yeah, man. The boat really threw me off the side.
How did Jamaican end up in
It happens when you hit the dirt, man.
I got real stoned. I wandered too far.
How did a Jamaican end up in ancient Israel?
It's a wrong. I took a wrong turn at Saskatchewan.
How I got here, man, is a big, long story.
That is the sequel.
We don't have the time.
That's the spin-off.
It's the prequel, man.
All right.
And involves a really big spleef.
And the last dead mail for today.
The question is, wait, I want to just go back to one thing about that.
Wait, did we even answer the question?
Probably not.
How many of you were clamoring?
We did say
zero.
Ben-Hur.
Maybe you, Ed.
No, I didn't want to read the movie
file. I just want to point out that I doubt Morgan Freeman will do any kind of accent attempt at anything in this movie.
No. Oh, no.
It's all going to come out flat like this. You know? Morgan got a flat kind of thing.
Andy Dufresne walked through
What's in your wallet?
Andy Dufresne was my friend.
All right, and the last question.
Covered himself in shit just to get out of this.
What's in my wallet?
Who is the bigger badass? Ripley from Alien or Michelle from 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Ripley.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude,
we'll talk
Aliens?
about Cloverfield in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll talk about it, but...
I didn't see Cloverfield.
You didn't see Cloverfield, but
after the last episode,
I will settle this.
After the last episode, Bill and I actually went to the theater and saw it together.
That's right. We went and saw Cloverfield 10, and thank you.
I disagree with you. We'll talk
well,
about
I
this
disagree
later.
with Bob. I disagree with Bob with the kissy noises. I looked up and I was hoping that you were going to be looking at Bob, but you weren't disagreeing with him. Now I have to officially disagree with Bob. Bob, there was no kissies.
That's right.
In the movie itself, thank God, or which was
oh, you're talking between us?
Yeah. What do you think he meant kissies?
I was slow in the uptake.
no,
I just thought Bob was being silly. I didn't realize he was actually making.
All right, we have to stop now because Palmer's already made 2 tweets about this whole thing, and I don't need kissy related tweets as he live tweets the show in the future. At the mere mention, he gets his theme. Fuck Bob. And now he's gonna make a clamor video out of this and everything.
Oh.
But to answer the question, Ripley actually held a gun. Ripley, fought a fucking alien.
She got in that machine.
Granted, the ending of Cloverfield involved some of that shit, but
she didn't have to build her equipment from scratch.
She didn't have to do it in outer space.
She would have. She could have.
Could she?
Who, Ripley?
Yeah.
You're telling me the girl that ended up in a bunker randomly with no training makes I guess we're just talking about Cloverfield, folks.
Yeah.
It makes a fucking exosuit out of a fucking shower curtain?
Hey, man, I think
hazmat suit?
That's resourceful, man.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking duct tape. She should have just been coated in duct tape by the time she was done. You know what I mean? John Goodman should have been like, where's all the duct tape going? I went looking for duct tape. I had 3 cases in case of the end of the world, and I knew we would need a lot of duct tape. I can't find any of it.
Megan liked duct tape. I used to make wallets out of it for her.
Duct tape and canned goods.
That's why it's all different colors. And in the end, she's got a cool suit because it's all duct tape, but it's got, conveniently placed striping because she was bored. She's like, let me make it fashionable.
Duct tape.
We'll get back to it. I don't want to derail emails.
To her feet.
All right.
Spoilers.
Did we get an email from
that was it for you, right?
Yep, that's it for me.
So let's see. Yes, that was yours.
Well, we played his theme song. Did Agent Palmer send one?
He did, but he's gonna have to sweat it out because he's not chronologically in the box next.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to?
We're playing it like that.
We're gonna play it like that. We're gonna go fucking international for this next one.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Mr. Hughes Brian, also known as Brian Hughes.
Brian Hughes.
From Scotland.
Oh, okay.
Hey, guys. Really enjoying last week's show and interview with Ed Heavey. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Looks like I may have to revisit Outsiders. I had only watched the first episode before it didn't quite grab me. It says, a wee question. And I'm trying hard not to read it with my Scottish impression. But he says, a wee question. Scotland has produced some marvelous comic book writers and artists like Grant Morrison, Mark Millar, Frank Quitely, Jock, etc. What is your favorite issue / run from Scottish creators? He's really bringing the Scottish pride to the table.
Mm-hmm.
Which
and
is nice.
This is a good test of nerd quotient around here too.
Well, it is because I didn't realize that Mark Millar was actually Scottish. I knew he wasn't.
You're a huge fan of him, right?
Yeah. I read a lot of his stuff. I knew he was obviously not from New Jersey or something like that.
Yeah,
but I didn't. I wasn't sure if he was Irish. Maybe. I apologize to anybody ready to stab me over that.
Yep, there's someone. I look forward to your emails.
Yes, please. Mm-hmm. Write it in your strongest Scottish accent.
Please,
as the great Scotsman Craig Ferguson would say, I look forward to your letters.
I look forward to your letters. I like that bastard. He's great.
Now they come instantly.
Fair enough, right?
These days,
mere moments away. From those guys, the fucking source material for that list alone is tough. Because it's so dense. Mm-hmm. Where do you go? Mm-hmm. Grant Morrison, just
his run. He had a great run on Batman.
Brilliant.
And Grant Morrison's also had some very odd stuff. You ever read The Filth?
I started reading The Filth, and The Filth was one of those things where it's like, oof, am I going to be able to hang on to get to the point where this all starts to make sense? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's one of those couple of different layers going on kind of thing.
Grant Morrison, I would say, is the only writer of any medium where I've read something and goes, and at the end of the first read, because you have to read it more than once to really understand what's going on, you go, oh my God, if I could understand what this meant, it would be awesome.
I watched
there is something truly magical here.
Well,
there's something cool here.
Going over
don't know what it is.
It's going way over my head.
Well,
but this makes sense to somebody.
Well, here's the thing. Like I really dug Invisibles. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's that kind of book, man. So
I've never read Invisibles.
Well, strap on. But and strap in, and strap on and strap in.
Yeah,
because it's like that.
It's definitely one of those.
So I ended up seeing a video. You can find it on YouTube of him giving a it's not a speech. It's everybody was kind of talking at one of these kind of like TED Talky kind of things, but it's from I forget what that fucking. I got a book over there.
Morrison Con?
No. It's one of these declassification kind of websites. I forget what it was called. Anyway, I don't even know if it's around anymore. But anyway, the point is, it's a famous talk he gave. It's like a TED Talk kind of thing.
Okay.
But he goes into like magic and doing drugs.
Oh, he's into all that.
And he's fucking deep in all of that.
Check out his episodes on Fat Man on Batman.
Fucking when and I'll talk about that real quick because there's an episode of Fat Man on Batman where it's like Kevin Smith finally sees the light on the ending of.
Killing Joke?
On Killing Joke, on Alan Moore's Killing Joke, fucking at the end, they don't realize that he kills a Joker. And Kevin Smith's like, whoa, what are you talking about, dude? And he's like, what do you mean? You never put that together? That's at the fucking end. You don't. And I'm like,
what the fuck?
But I'm like, you don't see anything. It just trails off, and he's laughing.
Right. And he's fucking.
Are you telling me?
Whoa, dude! Whoa! I can just see his head.
Shecky, stop, Grant Morrison.
Ed listens to a bit of Kevin Smith if you haven't noticed. But and I just know Kevin Smith's fucking the hands, bro. The hands have to be going at all fucking times. He's almost doing a Vogue thing. You can't see me.
Well, that's when he's on. That's when he's on TV.
Yeah,
when he's doing the podcast, he's
that
he smoked a few. And
that
he's
DC special he did with Jeff Johns. Bro, I thought Jeff Johns was going to get hit with a fucking flying karate chop. Kev Smith was like, bro, it's a great time. It's a great thing. I thought it was like 7-year-old on TV for the first time doing a Disney promo. The hands were flying around so much.
And it also knows that because Jeff Johns during that whole special, it's like, could someone tell him to cheat to the camera? Because like he's looking at Kevin Smith the whole time and you can't see his face.
Yeah. He's doing this weird, like he's new. Jeff, we're gonna clean Jeff up. We're gonna make him the new Joe Quesada. We're gonna straighten this all out. But back to Kevin Alan Moore thing real quick. And the only reason I bring that up because I feel like when I got handed that book by a friend of mine, like in the 6th or 7th grade, that was what the kid fucking immediately gave away. He was like, look, at the end of the last page, he fucking kills him. I'm like, he kills him? He was like, yeah, look, the laughing abruptly stops, the sirens stop, the cops come, but like it's just like silence goes on. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta read this. This is fucking crazy. And meanwhile, if I was a kid nowadays, I'd be like, well, thanks for ruining the ending. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Andrew, thanks. But anyway.
People are too easily offended sometimes.
So I think, when it comes to Grant Morrison, for me, it's probably Invisibles.
Okay.
Again, that video is highly recommended for people to sit there if you want to really get a taste of Grant Morrison.
As far as Mark Millar, the first Kick-Ass run.
Sure.
Is very good.
Sure.
Yep.
And also, there was one, I never got to finish it because I don't think I bought the trade, but there was one image title he had called Starlight.
Oh, Starlight's great.
I remember reading the first couple of issues and thinking it was amazing, and that was just when I couldn't afford comics anymore.
Starlight is really good. Starlight's like, basically, if Flash Gordon came home, no one believed him, and then 25, 30 years went by, and now Flash Gordon's like, in his 70s or whatever, and someone from that planet's like, no, we need you again. And he gets a chance to try and go back. And
I think I read some of that.
Yeah.
I think you were getting it, and I read some of that.
Yeah, it's not. It's good. It's good. It's really good. What's great about him is that he keeps it he streamlines it so simple and clean, with the story and stuff. It's all there in the dialogue and all that.
Yeah.
But really, really great. And they're making, that's in development too. Everything he's got is in development.
Cool. Good question.
Yeah,
he's a good storyteller.
And MPH, if anybody's interested in that, is like his version of take on Flash or Speedsters in a way.
Yeah.
Where basically his hook is like, okay, what if some street punk jerk off got the
gift of speed.
The gift of speed. Like, how would that spiral out of control? Basically, it's a good take. Lots of good takes.
Oh, we would have Quicksilver, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah. But it's all written from a more realistic kind of like, he's trying to rob banks and stuff like that, and how that goes wrong. Anyway. Thanks to Brian for the email this week. That was really cool, Brian. Great question. I've got a mush mouth going. So now we have the question from Agent Palmer.
Okay.
The one and only Agent Palmer. You know, he's known in podcast circles as the repository for hate mail. So if you have any hate mail for this show, you can send it to theagentpalmer@gmail.com. I'll say that again so people can write it down at home. Just one E, agentpalmer.com. I mean, you know what? Fuck it.
Theagentpalmer@gmail.com.
Fuck them. They got it. Fuck them.
Okay.
Fuck them all.
Okay.
Fuck them all.
So what do you want? What does he want to know?
I don't know. Something.
Okay.
Okay.
You want me to read it? Because I know last time we had a problem with this.
No.
Oh, the insanity.
It's only 130 words, this one.
Oh, okay.
I wish you'd get down to 130 characters, maybe. That would be, that would be nice.
Maybe we should.
He's good at that. I mean, he writes a lot of tweets.
Just make him contact you through Twitter from now on.
I should. You can only send an email in one tweet. A one-tweet email.
From now on, you can only contact me in tweets.
Well,
no.
That's a lot of tweets.
He's usually insightful in questions. His heart's in the right place.
No, I'm fucking around.
Let's give him the benefit of the doubt here.
This is what every show does that he contacts and becomes a fan and a friend of. He's a friend. That's what I just said. I put friend. And fan.
Yeah.
Fan.
So let's just call him Fran from now on. See how he feels about that.
My mouth needs a vacation. The only last time I heard that, it was, this girl telling me. All right. So, hello, boys. Daredevil Season 2 dropped this weekend, so I've been binging with breaks for March Madness. Speaking of sports, a minor league baseball team has decided to pull a lazy river and just beyond the right field fence. They're putting a lazy river just beyond the right field fence? Is that a real thing going on at one of the teams? A minor league team? Oh, it's their minor league.
Yeah.
So they can do whatever they want. It's basically mini golf, right? I mean, no one pays any attention to it.
It's like college basketball.
You know what? They're trying to get people to watch. That's what they should do.
I just pissed off so many people.
Bill, you realize somebody tricked you into talking about sports, right?
No, I know. I'm fully aware. aware. There's no real trickery. The trick is that he thinks he tricked me.
Well, do you know what a lazy river is?
Yeah, that's like
You're sitting in a tube and you go down.
It's when you get 3 jacks and 2 queens, right? Isn't that a lazy river?
Yeah.
I would think. I mean,
it means they're putting a body of water behind the right field fence. So you hit a home run, it goes into the water.
That's great. That's a mini golf. Mm-hmm. You know,
it's like our minor league team, the Staten Island Yankees. They're actually right on the Hudson, the New York Bay.
They should put them on a big float and just have them actually play in the water.
Pretty soon they're going to be right next to the world's biggest mistake. I mean, Ferris wheel.
Right.
Ferris wheel.
But no, you were right the first time. World's biggest mistake.
Yeah.
Local politics.
Although if it falls over, I just hoping it hits the certain buildings across the street.
Just think of the beautiful coral reef it'll make. All right.
Yeah, giant one too.
And it could block us off from attackers. So that'll be.
Still have tourists in the seats.
right. They'll figure out a way to make a fucking amusement park out of that.
They get that last couple out. They were up on the top for like 3 hours.
All right. So Dom's not here. His next thing is really kind of aimed to. Well, no, it's to everyone except Dom, who is a proper chap and already enjoys baseball. Would this make you decide to a ball game? That if they had like the waterfowl, basically, out in the middle of the field, does that make you suddenly more interested in seeing the game? I think it'd take more than just a waterfowl.
Well, actually, I am an avid sports fan. Not as avid as Dom, but I do love baseball. And I definitely.
So you're not, right? Yeah. You're a baseball fan.
I'm of the thought that if you have to entertain people in the middle of a baseball game with a lazy river, then maybe it's time to start changing the rules to baseball, so it's a little more attention worthy.
Yeah, maybe that's the key.
Put nails in the bats.
You know what I mean?
Well,
just pad guys
real
up
spikes in
so
the
you
cleats.
can slam into them on purpose.
The thing is, and I've gone to my fair share of minor league baseball games in the past.
Yeah, I've gone to a few.
And the problem is, the thing is, you don't really care about the team. No one really follows the team. You're there for the hang. You're not even paying attention to the game. You're just there with friends and you're chatting. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. You're there for the free hot dogs that come with the $18 ticket.
Well, one hot dog. Let's not, No.
There's a bargain.
You get a deal where
you get
$18. You get hot dogs, hamburgers, all you can eat.
What?
Sodas.
No one told me.
Because how else is it going to keep you in the place, man? You're going to go there. You're going to see 1, 2, 3 strikes. Time to go.
Fair enough.
Time to go. This is boring.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of,
thing is, you can't buy a beer after the 7th inning, and then you're like, what?
That's why you buy 12 right before the 7th inning.
Well, speaking of food,
give me a keg, please.
So here, back to his email. So moving past the sports and speaking of bringing shows or even movie marathons.
Binging shows?
Binging. I keep saying bringing. Wow, bro, I am off. Or even movie marathons. What is your preferred food for delivery to keep you sustained during such an extended periods of content consumption?
Pizza.
For him, it's a cross between Chinese or pizza and wings. So
those are going to be the three.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
there's nothing else really.
Chinese will last. Chinese, I think, is the thing that can best last in a refrigerator.
Fair enough.
The thing is, the MSG content does make you fall asleep faster. So you've got to be able to supplement it with enough caffeine.
Yeah. You also have to keep it warm. If you're going to be thinking about the long haul, you're going to have to think buffet style with Chinese food. You're going to have to think about keeping it warm with in the trays and everything.
You know what?
Best thing is just pizza because people will eat cold
small
pizza.
Steam table.
Yeah, I had cold pizza last night.
Right?
Can't go wrong.
Really?
Can't go wrong.
We grew up. Billy and I grew up on cold pizza for breakfast every Saturday morning.
It was great.
Whoever didn't get the pizza got the crust.
But nobody ever touched anybody else's crust. Maybe I don't know. I don't want to name names.
But anyway, so yeah, I would.
Well, what happened was that I must have bumped something and I stopped the recording, and so we lost Palmer's last question. But really, what he was saying is. The last question is, Leslie, do you ever wish you could Google the location of something in your house? And I'm not going to rehash it because it'll be hard for us to pretend that it didn't happen. But basically, we were like really digging the question, and it's like, man, like I would love to be able to find stuff that I've like packed away. Where the hell is it?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, Google, where are my car keys? In your hand, dummy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? It's
thanks.
No, thanks for letting me know.
You don't put GPS trackers on everything? That's what I do.
You know, RFID chips are pretty cheap.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So I think there's probably somebody out there doing it.
Right into the cardboard.
You know. All right. So sorry about that, Palmer. But then again, you're just never going to know what kind of greatness you missed when we first read that answer, that question, and like, oh my God, we were just basking in the glory of your greatness, and it just got lost to the sands of time.
Yeah,
sorry,
too
buddy.
bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy. Can't get it back. All right. So now we're going to wrap with a question with an email from Steve Martinez, also known as Steve Braulio.
Just Braulio.
Oh, just Braulio. Where does that come from in his name?
I don't know.
It's just a nickname?
I don't know.
Is that
maybe
food?
It was his middle name. Maybe it was his grandfather's name.
Okay.
Ask Sacco. Sacco knows.
I thought it was his last name for the longest time because they just call him Braulio.
Yeah.
But anyway. So the problem is that he's kind of talking as if I just listened to last week's episode, so like I'll remember exactly what he's referencing.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try and pick up too much, but I'm just going to read what he's got. So Batman would be ashamed of your piss poor detective skills. You're all worse detectives than Detective Lance, and he was, let's say, mentally handicapped at his position.
Well, he had a bunch of grim questions in
Right.
that it took us like half an hour to figure out what the hell he was talking about.
Right.
And unfortunately, Dom's not here this week, so he can't answer those questions.
Really?
Fair enough.
And he was kind of running them together or something, right?
Yeah, a little bit. So
thanks for that.
So he goes on to say, well, my favorite scene in Daredevil Season 1, because Season 2 will have already been out for a couple of days when you get to this email, is when Karen shot Fisk's right-hand man, and he was all like super surprised about dying. I think that one doesn't get credit for its what the fuck factor, you know? I agree. That's fair enough.
Okay.
Sure.
Spoiler.
That's good. Yeah, really. I was just about to watch that episode. No, tell us. So question number 1, tell us the story about the worst hit you ever took to the jewels. Worst time you ever got hit in the balls.
Oh, wow.
Boys.
Geez, that hasn't been since like what, high school?
Yeah, I mean it's been a while.
You know, those things you don't try and remember.
Last time I got hit in the nuts was actually from my friend's kid. Because, you know, they just don't ever know what the fuck they're doing when they're running around a room, basically.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Just hands just waving.
Yeah,
and all of a sudden
fucking foot kicked me or something. I don't remember. We were wrestling kind of. But.
Sometimes it's like if they hit you straight out, it's one thing.
Yeah.
But when they just graze you, you're like,
it's that dull, small pain that seems to be the worst.
Yeah. I went to an all-boys Catholic high school, so it was kind of like an everyday occurrence.
Yeah, a lot of cup checks.
That's just like how we greeted each other.
Yeah. There's a lot of that. I really hate that crew.
So what you're saying now, Ed, is your testicles are currently oatmeal.
Well, you know.
Not quite yet.
All right.
Yeah, well, hey, man, what doesn't kill you make it stronger.
I like chopped meat.
Once you escape high school and they haven't turned to grits yet, you're all right.
There you go. There you go. Don't want them to dry out. All right, so his next question is, well, these were for Dom. So, what's your favorite character on Grimm? Dom's not here. I'll put some crickets in.
Next question for Dom.
Who was/is your favorite Western so far? My favorite was the old lady who was a Cooper and was like, no.
This is from last week.
Yeah, no one is going to believe how you walked away from Nick. All right, then he's got another one. Holy crap, this guy loves that show. All right, so there's another one. I'm going to skip it, and then these are for everyone. So question number 5. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Mine are tag-alongs. Rah-rah raisins is Irina's favorite.
Rah-rah raisins, okay. I'd also agree with tag-alongs, although those Samoas.
Yeah.
It's pretty tough.
A lot of people love the Samoas.
Samoas, that's the one with coconut, right?
Yeah, it's caramel with the glaze, with the toasted coconut.
I want to like it, but sometimes I got to be like in the mood for that shit. Toasted coconut, like candies and shit like that, I got to be in the mood.
I know people who, during that time of year when the girls are around, they binge on those things.
Yep.
And then they go crazy for 9 months.
My sister's
I love how they keep the box the same size and they keep putting less cookies in it every year.
Yeah, and the cookies get smaller.
My sister's a Girl Scout, actually earned her Gold Award, which is the highest achievement in Girl Scouting.
Oh wow! For cookies?
No, just period.
Just for being awesome.
Yes.
General awesomeness. You got the super duper award.
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm gonna let that go.
Don't joke about that.
I'm gonna try not to mock.
It's a lot harder than it sounds.
I'm sure. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I could whip out and earn that shit.
That's like a big thing.
Oh, I'm sure. It's probably accrued over time in a way too, in a sense, because it's like she's done a bunch of different things.
She just can't weave a basket. She can weave a gondola.
She's gonna right. If we need a hot air balloon, and if we have one, and we need the basket, she's like, guys, give me 20 minutes.
She could.
I needed some straw.
No, she could round up a bunch of homeless people and train them to make baskets and turn it into a Fortune 500 company. That's
there you go.
That's really what that.
Isn't there a movie coming out with a similar premise with what's her name, McCarthy in it?
Did I see this on Shark Tank?
What's her name?
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, she's got a movie now with.
I think it's called The Boss or
Girl
something
Scouts.
Like that.
Yeah, she loses a multi-billion-dollar company,
yeah,
and she gets her mojo back by
sounds like Ed's lifting
selling more cookies than anybody else. And it's like,
all right. So number 6 on his email: who's your favorite lady superhero?
Who's the least dressed one? I'm sorry, no, kidding.
Well,
just kidding.
Just keeping it real. I guess.
No.
My favorite is
still keeping it real.
Yeah.
The Oracle.
Oracle.
Not Barbara Gordon.
What a contrast between the answers I just got. Ed's like, I'm gonna go for the handicapped girl. It's all about the message. Thank you.
Would me saying Scarlet Witch make you feel better?
No, because I don't believe that at all. Because that's nobody's favorite, unless it's a kid who just watched the movie.
I thought that backstory and her abilities were really cool.
No, absolutely. And Oracle's amazing.
I thought that character was an integral part of the DC universe, and I don't understand how she's not a part of it anymore.
It's it's a fucking soup over there. You know how it is. They don't know what to do. They don't hold on to any ideas long enough. They're about to flip a switch where it's all a non-reboot thing going on now. It's like, who can keep track?
But I think they should bring back not necessarily Barbara Gordon, but someone else should be the Oracle.
Someone should fill that position to a degree where it
my vote's for the fat guy, because there aren't enough of those in comics.
Just saying. I'm not saying I have a fucking preference or I'm a biased guy. I'm just saying. But what's funny is that Batman's kind of like Circle does need that. I think the whole thing with Batman being the guy who does everything is a stretch. You know what I mean? He needs, and then Alfred doing it all is a stretch too, because it's just too much technical bullshit going on behind the scenes, or that's like alluded to. It's like, when did you have time to run blood samples, DNA, fingerprints, map out all this? Wasn't this overnight? Was this overnight? You know what I mean? Come on. And you slept and went to 2 business meetings? right? Okay, and took a chick out to keep the cover going. Okay, Bruce, sure you did. All right, he needs at least an assistant.
Well, don't you know that in Gotham City the days are like 82 hours long?
The nights are definitely longer. I'll tell you that. I don't think the sun even comes up over that place.
Well, you get 12 hours of sun, and the rest of it's like 70 hours of nighttime.
It's like Alaska kind of a thing. I got you.
Right.
All right. So then he's gonna. Favorite lady superheroes. We did.
I gave mine. What's yours?
It's tough. I probably would have at one time said Rogue, but I won't these days just because it doesn't feel the same anymore. Rogue. I think superheroes because the only females that are coming to my head aren't like females from superheroes anymore.
I like you talked about it like it was a relationship. Like,
did I?
Yeah, like it just doesn't feel the same these days. Which is
it is.
I feel kind of like going through the motions. I don't even know if we really like each other anymore.
She won't let me touch her. She won't let me hold her. And I'm like, what's up with that? Like I feel like that's new. And then she tells me you don't listen or pay attention to anything I say, because otherwise you would know that you can't touch me. And I'm like, oh, whatever. But you know what's funny is like nowadays all the answers that are coming to my head aren't superhero chicks or or superhero females, I should say. I didn't mean like chicks. It's so derogatory. But I'm just kidding. But it's like Tulip from Preacher or I forget her name in Copperhead, the comic book Copperhead from Image. A lot of these kinds of characters where it's like
the paper girls.
Yeah, and so if we have to go superheroes, it's like the bigs, Wonder Woman, Rogue. I wish Marvel could figure out something to do with Lorna Dane. I mean, damn it, she's Magneto's daughter. She should be more than just this thing that pops up once in a while. Mm-hmm. His real daughter instead of Scarlet Witch, who's like, maybe not, maybe for their week, maybe until they get the rights straightened out, and then she'll be a mutant again. Like, what the fuck, whatever. So I think it kind of comes and goes. I mean, for me anyway. Bob, any standouts?
Well, I gave you mine before.
Oh, there you go. Oh, you did. You said...
I said Power Girl.
Power Girl. Fair enough. Let's just move it along. So then he wants to know if any of us have ever watched Workaholics.
Not really.
I have not.
I have.
It's a little too out there for me.
It gets a little wacky. I feel like these guys are really baked when they write episodes.
Downright farcical sometimes. It's hard for me to get into.
But I'll dig it when it works for me. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I think it doesn't know not to go over the edge. Doesn't know where the edge is sometimes.
Yeah.
And it goes right off the deep end into total ridiculousness.
And also, too, I feel like their deliveries are so
yeah, it's very dry.
It's very, very dry, but they're also quirky types. So it's like a lot of kind of quirkiness going on, and it's like, I don't know. But, I was digging it. I didn't make appointment television out of it, though, to be honest with you.
It's like intelligent stoner humor, but it's not always intelligent.
So... I'll agree with that.
It goes off.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it goes over the edge.
Yeah.
It doesn't know when to stop.
Right. There's some of that going on too, and it's not like I don't know. I just don't feel like it's one of those shows that's super smart.
I think the show needs to be there. Because we need stuff like that. We need to know how far we can go and how far we shouldn't go.
It's working, right? I mean, it's making money.
Right. So
with that, that's going to wrap up their email and the whole email segments. They say, have a good weekend and enjoy binge watching Daredevil Season 2. Aww. Which, believe me, we have, my friend. Thank you for that. Thank you to everybody who sent an email. Thank you to Brian Hughes. Thank you to Agent Palmer. Thank you to even you, Ed O'Hare. Thank you to Steve and Irina. Thank you to anybody who wanted to send one in but just didn't get around to it. Hey, we'll be here next week. You can send an email to podcast@wickedtheory.com.
You're welcome.
Oh no! You're welcome for welcoming. Well, no, thank you for welcoming. I don't know. What do I do
now? Meanwhile,
how do I thank you're welcome? Ponder that.
Okay.
Just thumbs up. Is that what you do?
Sure. Let's do some meanwhile.
Let's do a little meanwhile.
Meanwhile.
So we did kind of tease it during the email section there, but me and Ed went and saw Cloverfield, and
10 Cloverfield Lane.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cloverfield 10.02. The saga kind of continues. Maybe not. Is the thing they tag on the bottom. Mm-hmm. I usually like to save the spoiler stuff for the end of the show, spoiler talk stuff. So We won't get too crazy into it.
Yeah. We can. I mean, we could just kind of do a quick.
But if you
overview.
know what it is, you know exactly what it is. It's safe to say that it's a bunker, close quarters, thriller, tension kind of setup,
and then it's something completely different
in the last 10 minutes. And it's if you know what it's coming from, then you know what that last 10 minutes is, like, you know what I mean, basically, or what it kind of involves and stuff. And it leaves the door open for another one. There could be another one. I'd like to see another one where it's just as different as this was from the last one.
Yep.
I'd like to see something that continues just to be its own thing.
And then have one culmination where all three stories finally meet.
Well, of course, you just gotta. It's like Steve or Mark or whatever his name from the first one. Christine or Danielle or whatever her name is from the second one. And then Zach or Aeneas from number 3. Everyone's going to have a really crazy unique name.
I mean, it could end up being a sequel to this one, which would be someone in another bunker next door going. And then I'm going, wait, there's somebody next door.
or he was expecting something to happen, and now there's nobody in the one next door anymore.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Well, she'll be in the shower, and then like, what's that peephole there?
Oh, damn it. This whole time.
This whole time we've had another one next door, and someone's been peeping on me.
Well, no, you have wiggle room. But it was good. I liked it for what it is and what it was. It was good. Performances were strong.
John Goodman, man, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
He's actually a very good actor, John Goodman.
Really good. Like underrated in a way.
I mean, absolutely.
You wouldn't think to say that with John Goodman in a way where it's like, well, the guy's been around forever. He's been making good stuff. We all know that. I feel like he should be getting
like even when he's in bad movies,
he's still the best thing in it.
He definitely can be. I think the thing is he's just such a big guy that he's automatically pigeonholed as a character actor.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You don't look at him as being another Arnold Schwarzenegger, but you know what?
He becomes a guy who has to fit a certain type. Like, what I mean?
But I mean, as his size, I could see him running around trying to save somebody.
Well, me and Ed were talking about it because
it's more feasible than someone who's 5 feet tall.
Yeah, I mean, in this, there's a very specific direction that he comes in with that character.
Yeah,
and it's almost scary because I know that guy. Like I grew up with a lot of people like that. Like
me too.
There's a good chance I might be that guy when I'm 50 or 60.
Don't say that. Ed said that to me on the way out. He was like, I don't know, that might have rang a little too close to home for me. I wanted to be like, which part? The kidnapping people and keeping them against their will, or just like the crazy thinking stuff? You know what I mean? And either way, that's pretty much the same kind of a thing. But no, yeah, the guys who were a little conspiracy heavy or over concerned with certain things. But, I gotta hand it to him. He makes a point in the movie where, like, I turned out to be right.
Yeah.
Like, we did turn out to need a bunker. You know what I mean? And it's like, okay, you're crazy. Managed to align with the universe.
Yeah.
Let's not say that means you're cool and safe all around on everything. Not all your ideas are going to be gems there, buddy. But, really good. One of the things I wanted to say during the email that I said we'll talk about later was just I was glad, like, because it turns out there's another guy in there that him and the girl didn't, like, hook up. Like, you know what I mean? I was afraid it was going to be one of these things where, like, they'd both get out at the end or whatever. They'd be there together to the end, and it'd be some, like, little hook-up-y thing. And I'm glad they didn't because I just,
But that twist. And there's got to be a turn. There's got to be, like, that moment where, when it hits the fan...
When it finally kind of escalates, like in a way, it's a little bit of a slow build, but it doesn't feel slow. I'll say that too. Considering what kind of like this could be like a drag out fest, it keeps it going. It's a good. It moves at a great clip.
Yeah, there's just three characters for most of the movie.
The little story points hit at the right time, just the right time. I didn't feel anything like, what's going on now? None of that. But yeah, when it does take its turn, when it does shift into gear later on, at a certain point, it's like, oh, that's fucked up. First of all. But it's definitely one of these things where, like, because it's closed quarters, it's like anytime anything is introduced, it's like, oh, that's going to be trouble. Okay, we're going to see some of that later on. All right, But really good, worth seeing, to a degree. I liked it better, even though it's like a very different animal than the first Cloverfield. I like this better. I feel like it was just better done overall for what it's trying to be.
Yeah, I didn't see the first Cloverfield, and I still haven't. So, but I'm not usually one for monster movies, so that's kind of why I stayed away from it.
Well, that's the thing with Cloverfield, the original, is that, like, what's great about it, it's not a monster movie per se. It's like this scampering threat movie. It's like, trying to get out of the city alive. So it's like, it's really about the insects where like, people as like tiny things trying to get through, trying to find that buzz, trying to get through, some kind of crazy off the wall shit. Oh yeah, maybe like there was an incoming message or something, an update, probably.
It's a fax.
It's probably what it was. It was an extra quiet fax line.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway,
AOL.
No, I got that at work. I got that at work. You heard that the other day at my job. Weren't you there for that when it was like fucking cheep, cheep, cheep?
And also, and like actually, here's the other question that people who have seen the movie will know what we're talking about, and other people will have no idea. But if you're in that situation,
yeah,
Houston or Baton Rouge? We all want to say Houston.
Yeah.
We all want to, but we know it's Baton Rouge.
Yeah, it's one of those things in life. It's like the right answer should be Houston, but it's like, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know. Anyway, well, that's our recommendation on that. It's worth seeing. Go check it out if you feel like checking it out.
Yeah, go take $35 a ticket. Right?
There you go.
Bob, what you been up to this week?
Bob's got a little...
Well, no, I picked up, I got a deal on Rocksmith for the Xbox One. Just because it's a deal, because I'm not paying $60.
No, yeah. I wouldn't have expected you to jump on it. Otherwise, you would have, if you thought it was such a super cool thing, you would have jumped on it when it came out originally.
Basically, what it comes down to, at first, it just seems like it's a Guitar Hero.
Sure.
For a real guitar.
Right.
But it's a lot more than that. It's actually a really good way to pick up the guitar.
Okay, so basically it'll teach you guitar.
Yeah, it'll teach you. I mean, from the moment you turn it on, you can set up your effects chain with your amp. Mm-hmm. Pick an amp, because different amps have different sounds. You can put effects in different order in the chain, because you have a signal chain, right?
Okay,
that's the connection between the guitar and the amp and the audio that comes out of it.
Fair enough.
And there are several places along the line where you can add that. You can add it between the guitar and the amp.
Okay.
You can add it in the amp. You can add it post through PA system if you're playing live or something like that, or in a recording you can add it later in the same manner. Right? So there's several different ways you can do it, and they all affect the way the sound changes.
Okay.
The same effect will sound different wherever it is in the chain. So you have a lot of flexibility with that. You have a lot of flexibility with learning how to play. So you can learn songs. You can take it through lessons. It'll take you through from day one, never having played. You can pick if you're an intermediate player or even an advanced player. It's got master classes, everything.
And on top of that,
it's got lessons. It's got songs to learn. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say the songs. So I feel like the interesting thing to a degree is all the songs that
yeah, it comes with, looks like, I didn't count them. It was like maybe 20 or 30 songs on the disc, but you go onto the marketplace and you can buy. It's got to be at least 100 songs there right now.
Right.
Probably more. And the ranges from metal, even some death metal, all the way to more popular standards, 50s, 60s.
All these kinds of classic rock.
Yeah, you can like Bill Haley and the Comets, The Who.
Yeah, I was surprised I heard Bill Haley.
Motorhead's on there, Megadeth. They got Deathlock from Megapocalypse.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
you got some Foo Fighters, some Tenacious D.
Right,
it's quite the schematic. So are you thinking about buying any of those packs maybe, or just kind of
I need another $60 just to buy the songs.
Fair enough. That's usually how it goes. Price of the game plus price of another game gets me a full game.
I think I'll talk to my bosses over at Wicked Theory about possibly picking up a couple of songs.
I think there's some forms you can fill out.
Yeah, that'll things I could do, things I can learn that will
you want to
be good for you, be useful for the show.
Right. You want to send in triplicate, sign it, get
notarized. I got to find the forms, the budget allocation forms, but they're somewhere.
Aside from that, I'm just going to play through everything on the disc, and then I'll worry about picking up songs.
Well, there you go. That's the way to probably do it.
Yeah.
See how.
And it's going to mostly be Megadeth, Motorhead, and
right. And some show
tunes.
Real
guitar songs.
A couple of Broadway show tunes, I'm sure. All right, so that's cool beans. That's some cool beans. We really didn't have a lot.
Back to the Future's on there.
Well, I did hear you getting some samples out of those.
Yeah,
those movie soundtrack packs.
I was going through the list of songs and it plays you samples.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Can't wait to hear some.
Yeah, if anyone wants to learn how to play guitar, I'd say go ahead, do this, and you'll learn.
Yeah, at the very least, if you're looking for a way to learn songs specifically, even if if you're a player, if you already play. But,
yeah, absolutely, it's an easy way to pick up songs real fast. But like as a beginner, sign up online. They have it's a 60-day program.
Okay.
And it outlines everything you need to do for every day. So just if you do an hour a day and you follow the program, supposedly, you're going to be able to play guitar within 60 days.
That's not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty cool. All right, so I guess from there we'll start swinging our way over into the news section of stuff.
News.
If Bob wants to play us a little newsy, jingle, jangle.
Kind of thin this week, but still some goodies.
It is news o'clock.
So what do we got? What's on the docket?
What's on the docket? Oh, well, it's a little thin this week. I just want to point out it wasn't announced this week, but I saw a write-up on it. I thought I'd point out to people at the comic shops. Coming pretty soon is a book that I'm excited for. It's Moon Knight. They're redoing the series. They're relaunching.
Okay.
Jeff Lemire writing.
Ooh.
And
Interesting.
He's in an asylum at this point. So the cool thing with Moon Knight is that he's got this fractured. Well, maybe if we're taking the gig, we'll find out.
Okay.
But ever since Warren Ellis took over the last run,
which was amazing, 6 issues,
great stuff, and even the work done by the people who followed him on that.
I believe it was Joe Casey.
I think Brian Woods.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was Brian Woods.
Well, came in for a couple of issues. Didn't come in for a full run. Came in for a couple of issues, but kept it alive. Kept up this different kind of feel. So now what I like about it, because I'm kind of like getting bored with a lot of Marvel stuff, is that it's one of the books that's different in their lineup. That's got some kind of, it's not going to tie into all the other crap that's going on, and it's going to be its own thing, first of all. But second of all, it's like a different spin on, a character or superhero-y stuff. So anyway, if you don't know, Moon Knight's basically got a fractured psychosis, and he's got some personality issues and stuff like that. It's always kind of been an aspect of him they've been trying to writers play with, is his mental state, and whether or not he's crazy, or it's got to do with where he gets his abilities from. But there's a new series coming up, and it looks like it's going to be pretty different, pretty good. So I'm just kind of putting it out there. If anybody's actually listens and goes to comic shops, I don't know. People, I don't know what people do who listen to this show.
Well, Moonlight's always been an underrated character, so it'd be nice to see him get a good turn. Yeah,
it'd be nice to see them keep it going. Like, since Warren Ellis, they kind of found a groove with it, where they let it be the character that we get weird with, kind of a thing. Right. It's like, cool.
Let it go, let's do that. And just let it find a following.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Some things need to be allowed to gestate.
And I think
to gain a following.
I think Marvel should do more like that, where it's like, certain characters, just let them kind of start to feel like an Image title or their own thing more. You know what I mean? Like Doctor Strange is a book that should just be its own thing. And it's a good book. Well, I'm reading it now. Bob's reading it. Digging it.
Missed the last issue. I got to get that.
They've been very, like, Doctor Strange is one of those characters that you would think he would have a regular book more often. Right. And he did long stretches where he's just
can't make it work. It doesn't get the following, doesn't get the interest. And they've tried numerous times to kind of find new angles for him and stuff like that. And the run right now is really good. And I think what the thing is, I kind of, I'm not trying to say that the writing isn't spectacular or anything. But what I am trying to say is I think the thing that kind of gets you going is the artwork. For me, anyway. I'm not saying that the storyline is cookie cutter or anything like that. It is really good. I'm just saying I feel like...
Well, it's a little out there, the storyline.
Yeah.
So for the average reader, it might be a little bit hard to hang on to and keep reading.
A little bit. You know what I mean?
But so if you could supplement it with good artwork, that solidifies the story and makes it a little more accessible.
I think that was... because that's the thing, I think, is that with Strange, you need a guy who can do weird. In the artwork,
in an accessible way,
and highly talented, kind of like that's that guy's thing. You know what I mean?
He understands how to do it without making it look confusing to the average reader.
Right. So, but then moving into TV stuff, I just wanted to point out that that episode with Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman playing the Penguin's dad on Gotham is coming up. It's this week. I'm just giving a heads up if anybody wanted to just check that out.
He actually played that same part in Batman Returns.
Yes, technically.
Yeah, this looks like it's going to be very different, though. Although it's funny, like, you know, you would never think of it, and then the second you see them side by side together, it's like, well, how did no one make this connection?
Well, I just watched a clip earlier and of them talking. I think
it's perfect casting.
It is. It's perfect.
Physically speaking.
Yes, yes. Because when you watch the scene where they kind of first meet each other and they're looking at each other like back and forth, and the camera's going back and forth, you're like, yes, that's his dad.
Robin Lord Taylor, is that the actor's name? Plays the pig. It almost, like watching it almost feels like he stole his mannerisms from Pee Wee Herman.
Right. You could almost kind of
channeling a little bit of Pee Wee in his
performance. There's something locked shoulders about him, and awkward.
When Pee Wee was doing Pee Wee's Playhouse, that's part of his mannerisms. The way he maneuvers is to kind of do that stiffness.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. You know, he definitely does kind of a penguin walk. Yeah. Maybe Penguin's doing the tequila thing. You know, up on the tippy toes. We just can't see it. But so I just wanted to point that out. So also in the movies, not a lot of news this week.
Yeah. I remember because, like, you know, a lot of times during the week, I'll just like start trolling the sites and posting stuff to our feed. So I went like 2 or 3 times.
There's just nothing really that amazing, worthwhile.
Yeah. There was a guy who used to be on the Rockford Files that died.
And it's like literally a guy. Yeah, you know, it's like but I mean, I knew him from other stuff, but. So also this week, we didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, really, because we were doing all the stuff and got a little distracted. But, you know, that Civil War trailer came out. What'd you think? How'd Spider-Man look to you?
I thought it looked cool. Much brighter than the previous versions.
It's very reddy red. Not the maroony brick red kind of thing.
Yeah, and
which is the right way to go.
You know, and what they're doing with the eyelids there, it almost looks like, you know, the 80s cartoons.
Yeah, I'm digging it. Some people are not feeling it, but I'm digging it because...
Well, I think that's the way Spider-Man's supposed to look.
I feel like that's kind of a thing that they've always established in the animation stuff, at the very least. Maybe he's not doing it all the time, but it's a thing that he does, that they use anyway. I mean, there was no inherent logic for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's the same thing as like when they do the split face... half Peter Parker, half Spider-Man, like they used to do in the old books. Spider sense would be tingling, like a way to let you know. I feel like it was like an artistic license kind of thing in the comics or in the cartoons even, where it was just a way to be able to read his emotions a little better in the eyes. And, you know, now people want like, it's got to have, I don't understand how it works practically in the universe.
Well, you know, and I don't even
think... How does it work in a suit? How?
I didn't even think it was something that people were doing consciously. It was just kind of like an artist's way to cheat, sort of an expression.
And I think that's, you know, and that's definitely what it is. You know what I mean? But like... You know, you give it artistic license or the suspension of disbelief as a reader of it. So I think that in cartoons, when it follows through, you're like, oh, okay, that's what that looks like in motion. And now to finally see it on film is a little maybe not used to it, and that's what's kind of throwing people off. And also, I think the cartoons now don't do it as much maybe in how they play out as the older cartoons did. So people of a different generation are like, oh, bro, that looks just like Spider-Man and his amazing friends. Like, you know, and somebody else is like, what?
Yeah, I haven't watched a Spider-Man cartoon in a while.
Well.
What's the version? Is it still Ultimate Spider-Man? Was that the last one that was...
Omega. It's Omega Spider-Man now.
Omega Spider-Man.
Omega Super Spider-Man now.
Okay.
No, I don't know what version, what the deal is now. It's Spider-Man and a whole bunch of friends.
Cyborg Spider-Man.
Basically. Yeah, it's Cyber Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
Cyber.
You got pulled into 3D virtual reality?
Cyberman?
Yeah. I was trying to avoid that. Yeah. But, I guess he's in the 3D. No, I don't know. I have no idea. Well, you know, I can't keep track of that shit.
Spider-Man.
Supposedly, even that 2099 cartoon, like when Spider-Man went to the future, got all weird fucking, like, that, like, counts. Like supposedly, like, there's a little bit of a carryover when it starts from, like, the end of one series, and, like, the next series that starts after that, I think, might tie loosely, like something that they would. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't quote me. Don't even put that out publicly. I was probably wrong. I'll just leave it in the episode. So after that, Ed, what do you know about this screening room thing? That's
screening room. So this is a premium service,
right?
That people are testing out, where average people, Joe Schmoes, like you and me.
Well, wait a minute, but okay, I'll take it.
So if you want to see a movie that's in theaters right now, but you don't want to leave the comfort of your home, this is a premium pay-per-view service that you could purchase. However, the catch is because you instead of going out to the theaters and paying your, I don't know what it costs other places, but here it's like $13.50, $14, depending on where you go.
Yeah.
It's $50 per viewing.
Per viewing?
Yes.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That
to see a movie that's in theaters right now, day and date of release.
I didn't know it was that expensive.
Hey, wait a second. I just had a thought.
Yeah.
Get it? The $50. Do what we used to do with the pay-per-views. Charge people to come hang out at your house.
Well, I think that's
watch
the
thing. Movie.
That's the reason. I think that's the reason. Like, they're doing it like that. It's like, how like a bar, if a bar wants to get the boxing match, like, it costs you $40 at your house. But if you're an establishment, then, they got to jack it up because of exponential. So I guess what they're thinking is that, well, you might invite 20 people over. Or you might be some douchebag who's just going to rip it in the moment, and then, it'll be online in an hour.
Right.
And I would think that would be the bigger cause for concern.
It is a premium home experience.
So does that mean that they send someone to your house, like, and serves me popcorn, and he can make extra butter?
No, but like you pay basically for the right. I can watch the newest movie.
Right.
I could see Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice the day premieres without having to go to the movie theater and deal with all of that.
Yeah, but that price point's crazy.
Well, that price point. Well, see, it's funny because
that's what you used to pay for pay-per-views, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you did have the right to watch the pay-per-view.
Well, like that was
24-hour period.
Well, that was more like pay-per-view if you were getting like WrestleMania or
right.
Like
but I think that's what he means. Like,
yeah.
like it's like an event type thing.
Right.
Like,
if you're gonna make it, that's what they're doing here, though. It sounds like they're making it an event. So if you're gonna make it an event, fine, charge $50, but then don't give me a hard time and come knocking on my door and looking for money when I have 10 friends come over and charge them $5 a head.
Yeah,
right.
And tell them to bring your own beer and popcorn.
Yeah,
and come and watch it in my 70-inch screen with my surround sound system. You know what I mean? So I don't want to hear nothing about it.
No, I think
if they're going to charge me $50 and tell me I can't do that, then to hell with them.
Well,
I don't really understand how they would stop you, Bob. I think you're being a little paranoid here.
Well, they stop people from playing covers in clubs.
Well, you're saying like that they wanted to, they could make an example out of somebody. You know what I mean? Much like all these companies will do once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they're not really going to stalk us in particular, but I understand what you're saying. Though
but they used to go around when bars would have pay-per-views. They used to go around people and catch them and charge them or shut them down.
Right? No, yeah. And
now we have the record RIAA and all these guys. They have software that follows when people do copies online, and they have people that go around the clubs. And see if people are doing cover shows. If they're doing cover shows, then they got to get licenses from them.
No, I totally agree with you. There's a precedent. Yeah.
So
companies will flex their muscle.
Right. So if they're doing this, just so I have to pay $50, and then in 10 years from now, it's okay. It feels okay for people to pay $50 to see a freaking movie at the theater too.
Well,
or something like that. Because a lot of times they use these things as a means to validate another price hike in another area that correlates.
Right. And though you said it offhandedly at one point, you might have had a point where it's like, well, by giving it a crazy high price point, maybe we are trying to also keep people from just all swimming to it. Like, because you were like, oh, well, $50, I really will go out to the movies if that's my choice. So maybe there is a little bit of trying to keep the entrance barrier up, like, you know what I mean, where it's like, well, because if it's $50, not everybody's going to do it. Only people who like really have to see it, or people who are just like those fucking freaks.
Plus, it's also
it's a small slice. I think
your movie distributors, if you're going to charge the same price as a movie ticket, why am I going to let you screen my movie through this service?
There's probably some of that too. It's probably in order to get these people on board, you have to promise them a certain, supersized reward for it. It's like I think that's probably where it's coming from. But for me, what's strange, well, not strange, but what's funny is that how many, like who's coming out for it and who's coming out against it now. It's starting to be a little Hollywood civil war. Whose side are you on?
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, this isn't going to go away because
no. It just keeps cycling around.
In a few months, we're also going to have totally app-based TV offerings from AT&T. They don't have cable service. They do have Dish, but they're going to be offering people, instead of having to get Dish to get service, just you'll pay for service. You get the app on your phone, on your computer, on your TV, and you just access the app to get your...
No, yeah. The whole place is going to shift up again. Absolutely.
Everything's going to go online, so it's all going to be wireless and Wi-Fi, and so...
We'll see.
Well, we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, everything's going to change, so this is going to be part and parcel with that.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those. This is going to be one of those things.
This will be the premium end of it.
Yeah.
And then they'll come in with the channels.
Yeah, but I think it's. I don't know how it's going to work out. I mean, they're obviously going to have to talk certain studios into playing along. So at this point now, they've got some.
They've already got
talents.
some deals.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They've got some talent. People. Like, I'm for Steven Spielberg-y and these kinds of like ultra rich types who like won't really feel the pinch. Who are actually being approached probably on a partner level. So it's like, yeah. All right, I'll be a shill man for a couple of shares. You know what I mean?
Well, guys like Spielberg and Bono, they all have these kind of
deals.
These guys, these groups that they work, they're businesses.
Yeah, well, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah,
they're financing businesses that they run.
Yeah, and they invest in these things, and it's like, it's funny to see where it's going to lie, because then you're going to see people like on the other side.
We'll return after these messages.
I've had enough of this jungle.
It's Indiana Jones, a large-size action figure.
That boulder's coming in fast.
He's new from Kenner's Raiders of the Lost Ark collection.
Stay low, Indiana. They're right behind you. Use your whip. Whoa, I'm slipping. Oh, a snake pit. Get me out of here. Snap.
Indiana Jones, a large-size action figure from Raiders of the Lost Ark collection. New from Kenner.
And so now, you know what I want to get into now? Now I want to get into what I think is the worst idea of the week.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Really?
Worst idea of the week. Maybe, like, for me personally, in the last few months. But, what could it be? What could possibly be so bad? Such a horrible...
What is it, Bill?
Thank you. Indiana Jones 5 has been officially announced.
Another freaking one?
Another freaking one. So it's Indiana Jones.
Is this Indiana Jones and the Temple of Wheelchairs?
It's him, and it's I don't get it, man. I just don't fucking get it. I don't know why anybody just can't say fucking no to something.
Now Harrison Ford is signed on, as is Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
But George Lucas will not be creatively involved.
Well, I guess that'll be the thing that ruins it. I mean, I don't know. That's not even going to matter. The problem is, the thing that makes me most scared is that they brought back David Cope, Coep, I think it is. Kep, maybe?
Yeah, I believe
I'm mixing up two different last names, because I think Koepp is somebody else. But, thank you. But point being that he's the guy who wrote Crystal Skull, and I'm not going to blame him saying, the Crystal Skull was his idea. But, I've got no faith in anything related to this right now. I don't want it. We don't need it. It's a bad idea. Just fucking stop it.
You know what?
Steven Spielberg doesn't even need this. He's got more money than God.
Nobody needs it.
Okay, here's the thing. I don't think another Indiana Jones movie is necessarily a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. I believe that another Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford. I think if you're carrying on this story... I think you're cutting yourself at the knees at a certain point, because I think that character and that world that they built is strong enough that it can be carried off by another actor.
The only thing that makes sense for me for this is to say that this is going to be the segue into that. That this project is going to have him, old man, on the bookends, telling a story. Well, and they're going to insert some kid in a flashback, and we're going to establish him for the movie series moving forward.
Something to Indiana Jones and the Temple of the Golden Walking Chair, the Golden Walker.
I like it. We're getting better. Yeah.
But they tried that for the last. That's what Shia LaBeouf was supposed to be.
It's Indiana Jones in the tube of Ben Gay.
Yeah.
Is Indiana Jones in a search for more Viagra? Indiana Jones in a search for
Geritol?
Lithium?
Someone to move these shelves down several inches so I can reach stuff again. You know, it's all this kinds of shit. Like, what is he going to do? He was barely holding it together in the last one. The dude, and
he was looking real slow in Star Wars.
And let's not even just pick on him for being old, okay? Yeah. The last one sucked for a lot of reasons. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of parts in that's probably, you know, initially on paper, sound good. It's like, okay, a young guy to kind of do some of the action stuff. All right, we'll write that in. Then by the end, it turns into Shia fucking LaBeouf. You know what I mean? Trying to, you know, it just didn't fucking work.
It just didn't work. It just didn't work.
And the ridiculousness
Kate Blanchett is your villain, and somehow that didn't work.
And Indiana Jones is probably supposed to be one of the more grounded kind of extra adventure guys, still within a ridiculous kind of, you know, limit. Right. But the whole thing with the fucking refrigerator at the end of Crystal Skull.
Mm-hmm. Well, also like
to avert, you know,
part of the idea,
nuclear radiation. Just. You're not gonna cut me off with that. I'm getting it out. You know it was a problem. You know it was a fucking problem. Now you can go. So.
Okay. Well, also kind of, and this is sort of where the Star Trek prequels and you know the Star Wars prequels.
I'm not saying it's easy transitioning. You know.
Mm-hmm. Because the whole idea behind those first three movies was practical effects, mm-hmm. and that it was cheap and dirty. They were doing old school tricks like a 40s serial or like a TV show.
Yeah, and
they made that fourth one was so CG heavy, and you know that's kind of the pressure that you get for a lot of big tentpole movies nowadays. Mm-hmm. And I think Star Wars, hopefully, The Force Awakens, will try to bend people back in the direction where if you can do it practically and it looks good, a lot of times audiences will buy it more and it'll have more of a lasting effect. My basic position, I think Indiana Jones, and detractors are saying, well, only Harrison Ford can play that character. For those people, I would like to point out a little TV show in the 90s called The Young Indiana Jones Chronicles.
Fair enough.
Where you had 2 or 3 different actors playing the character at different ages.
Yeah, it wasn't just the kid.
Yeah. So, well, in like some episodes, he was a teenager. Others, he was in like his 20s, going off into World War I.
Right, but you know.
But the point is, I think he's like James Bond. If you get another actor who can put a different spin on the character, but still make it unique and what it originally was, and set it in the 30s.
I think it's even simpler than what you guys are going for, really. I mean, people die. Characters live on. Okay? Whether that's in real life or in TV shows. I mean, look at soap operas. How many times do you turn on a friggin' soap opera? The role of Jim is now being played by Steve.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
So anyone who's complaining that hard about losing Harrison Ford is stuck in the first 2 movies.
Yeah.
Okay, because those were the best ones. Mm-hmm. And they don't want to get away from that.
This is a thing I like to refer to as...
They can't move on.
Bob and I are going to have a fight because I think Last Crusade's my favorite. But
okay,
anyway.
that's great.
and that's fine.
Great. I'm not a huge fan of the movies. I watched like the first 3. I saw the first 3. Mm-hmm. I didn't see Crystal Skull at all.
Good for you. Smart move.
The fourth one.
Educated, smart move on that, Bob.
Yeah.
Gold star. Best thing to do with that movie is to just never see it. Don't pretend it doesn't exist because you have to hold them to it. They fucking made it. They have to clean up their mess. But good move. You know what I mean? Trust me.
Yeah, I was looking forward to that movie when it came out, and I said, no, I'm not. No,
once you start seeing a little bit of it, it's like oof. And then you start hearing about it, it's like oof. But and then when you see it, it's like.
Are we gonna? Is Shia LaBeouf gonna be anywhere near this movie?
I doubt it. But who knows?
I mean, Steven Spielberg did come out and have he was really high on Shia LaBeouf in his career.
Oh yeah. He was the future.
Well, this was also before he publicly went crazy.
That's true. Which probably would have happened anyway. But here's the thing, it's gonna come down to this. Like, I totally agree with you. Like, you can replace. You guys are both coming from the same place with that, where it's like, hey. Movies like James Bond and others.
Batman,
thank you.
Really?
We're used to kind of seeing the mantle get passed. You know what I mean? We just have to get used to it with this. You know what I mean? And I think with this, they have to kind of say, it's not like Han Solo where all we're going to get should be these old fill-in stories. Well, I guess that's what you're going to get anyway, but what I'm trying to say is that, once they break the seal with Indiana Jones, good. Like, you know what I mean? But they're never, if they don't do it right, then they're going to fuck up any chance, I think, of getting it right again.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, anytime, like, you do, like, a relaunch, reboot, like, if that first out the gate doesn't work, you're going to have trouble sticking it every time. Because it's what happens with some of these franchises. It's like, you know, James Bond is lucky in that way, where, like, only a couple of movies, like, in the grand scheme of James Bond, are really kind of, like, looked at with a bad eye. Well, and it's because those movies, and not even a bad eye, but just because those movies, like, deviate from the main format, or it's a comedy because one of them's a fucking comedy or some shit like that. You know what I mean? And it was the 70s. There was a lot of fucking cocaine and shit going on behind the scenes. So the world was fucked up.
Some of them are hokier than others, and there's more than a couple of bad Bond movies.
I was soft pedaling,
but rarely has there been two terrible ones in a row.
Fair enough. But so, like, yeah. Don't get me wrong. Like, I would like to see Indiana Jones handled better. Like, but the amount of shit that's going to have to be heaped onto this Indiana Jones 5, like I don't think that I think they're going to fail. I really think that they can't pull it together and knock it out of the park the way that they need to. If you're going to close the door on Harrison Ford, because I guarantee you that's what this stems from. This stems from Harrison dying in Star Wars and them having a conversation where, like, you know what we should probably do is the swan song for Indiana before it's too late, you know, and yeah, all right, I'll do that. We'll make it easy for me. We'll figure out a storyline.
They'll probably find out he's got a kid.
Well, fair enough. Kid.
And then the kid's going to be in this movie with him, and he's going to take over from there on.
Spoiler.
Spoiler if you haven't seen Crystal Skull. But, because technically, that's his kid.
Now I know Bob didn't see it.
now you know for sure Bob definitely didn't see it. Yeah, they make it, they beat around the bush for most of the movie, but then it turns out, oh no, Shia LaBeouf's his kid. That's the thing.
Shia LaBeouf's not his kid anymore, though.
Right. Well, since then, there's
Steven Spielberg's like,
no, they'll kill him. That's
I did have another son. You know what I mean? And that one we named Indiana. But yeah, so however they do it, you know, they got one good shot at it, I think.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, to kind of pass on the fucking torch. I don't have a lot of faith in them being able to do it right the way it needs to for it to fucking quote unquote work. I doubt the casting's going to be fucking good enough. I doubt that the transition of the script and all that stuff is going to come into play because they're too far removed from it. I don't think they know what constitutes good anymore. You know what I mean? Or even like and I'm not saying because they're out of touch with what works now. I'm just saying they're in a general sense out of touch. I think Spielberg's a little bit out of touch. I think Harrison Ford is just like, whatever you bring, whatever, I'll fucking do it. As long as it meets my one criteria, meets my one thing where it's like I'm doing it so I can die, or I'm doing it for XYZ to close the door, then yeah, I'll do it.
If you go back to 2 years ago, like the basic consensus was that Harrison Ford hated Star Wars, and like one of the only reasons he would come back was that because he was going to die and because they promised him they'd do another Indiana Jones because that was a character he loved. You know,
it's all fucked up. Like, you know what I mean? I just don't see how this is going to work smoothly as they wanted to. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've been fooled before. You know what I mean? I'm not saying
Indiana Jones on Mars.
Why not?
Let's reserve judgment till we see the first teaser trailer. But let's let everyone know right now. This is what we're thinking. This is where
I stand. You know what I mean? I'm the one who has the issue with this. I put this in the notes. I wanted to go over this. I wanted to drop that. Like
Indiana Jones meets the Muppets.
See, but Bob's right. That's what we're gonna get. Because we got to sell the ride at Disneyland. You know what I mean? We got to make sure we hit all levels of the merchandising and marketing available. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm sorry, but young girls aren't swooning for Indiana Jones anymore. So we got to make him young, make sure we get those abs on screen. You know, we got to do all that shit, you know.
Indiana Jones falls into a wormhole and ends up in the Star Wars universe.
You see? This is what's going to happen.
There you go.
This is what's going to happen.
Meets Han Solo.
All of a sudden, he's going to be like in a crypt, in a tomb, and there's going to be it's a giant Hydra logo. Oh no! Because he fought the Nazis, you see. You know what I mean? It all ties together pretty well. He's going to meet the Red Skull. And it's going to be like, you know, predating like Captain America getting there by like a week. Him and Cap will have an adventure, which I'm surprised they never did, like as a comic book crossover tie-in because they do all of that shit. You know what I mean? Captain America and Indiana Jones. Like, why did not can I write the pitch now for Marvel? Can they? If anybody's listening, I have a 3-page document. I can send anybody.
It's going to happen.
6-issue miniseries.
They did Green Lantern meets Star Trek. Anything's possible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you know what I mean? If they're doing that shit right now, please. They did some shit with Back to the Future and something else too, crossed over recently. I can't keep track of
Back to the Future, like, we came up on the date in the future movie. That's what happened. We actually time actually caught up with the movie.
Yeah, well, that's what it is. Stuff
so
like
they released the 30th anniversary edition on that date or something.
How come we didn't do that when we reached the real date from Time Cop?
You know what I mean? How come there's only love for these certain things? So why can't there be love for the things I love? But so I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's all I got for that. We'll move on. But Indiana Jones, I'm declaring it bad idea of the week. Worst idea of the week.
Okay.
Not just bad.
Worst.
Which
It's
means
the worst.
The baddest of the bads. And then,
Knockwurst, bratwurst, all of them.
Well, what else we got here, guys?
We watched some episodes of Daredevil.
Ooh.
Daredevil season 2 to be specific. Ed, you got 2 episodes down.
I got 2 down.
Me and Bob had a brotherly evening. We
had a mini marathon.
We had a little mini-thon. We got to 6.02.
Okay.
And watched the cold open for number 7.
So let's just give overall impressions.
Yeah,
since our audience might not have listened.
We're gonna keep it non-spoiler. Probably next week when Dom's here, we'll have a full digestion to a degree, because I think next week we have some stuff on the docket. Because next week, isn't there a movie coming out next week?
Maybe.
Yeah. Small thing.
Yeah.
I think it's
it's got a colon in it.
That's you love.
Was it something that was big in Sundance or something?
Yeah.
One of those little under the radar movies.
Indie film
about a piano guy with a 1 foot plays with his foot or something.
Maybe this is a sequel to that. I guess
Oh, that would be My Right Foot.
That would be my Kryptonian, my Kryptonian toes. So next week is Batman
You're horrible.
Was it too soon?
Yeah. Was it too soon? What, was it too soon? That's good.
That one came out in like 1990.
I mean, come on,
Come on.
we can't make fun of Titanic. I mean, what's too soon? All right. So anyway, let's get into Daredevil a little bit. Some overall impressions, not too spoilery, and what do we thought? Like for me, again, just like season 1, really good.
A lot of bloodletting.
The action is
right
over
from
the top.
the get-go.
Yeah.
A lot of close quarters fighting.
A lot of close quarters fighting. Like everything you loved about season 1
is
in season 2.
Great action scenes. The way the story builds in that first episode. And it's the kind of thing where, like, if you know the comics, you know what's going on, and then watching all of the characters slowly catch up to where you are.
Yeah.
Even though you don't see the main villain until like 3/4 of the way through the episode, but you know that he's behind it all.
You know what's going on to a degree, and you're watching it unfold. And then, not to jump ahead of you too much, but when you start to watch more unfold, and like you have a certain kind of idea of how it goes in the comics, and it's like one of these things where, like, it's funny how, like, because I feel like we're going to cross this with doing the Preacher show, but this is a thing we'll have to address in general, is how, like, an adaptation of something deviates, and when is that working, and when is that okay? And I think it's only okay for you when it works for you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Obviously, that's pretty basic. But, like, so for me, watching some stuff go down with the Punisher, like when they start to really kind of, like, a few episodes ahead of you, Ed, when they kind of, like, get into him a little bit more, and it's like, what's different, what's changed, and, how much of it works.
There's a point where you actually feel bad for the Punisher.
You know what I mean? This kind of thing.
Really bad. I mean,
and,
I got
you get, things open up, and you're like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? But, then conversely, watching other things go down where it's like, okay, well, whereas they've kind of put some spotlight or puff up something that that tends to be thin in the book, versus something else where it's like, wow, I wish they had kind of actually elaborated on that a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's the thing you swim through all the time with adaptions. So
I also like the setup in terms of theme that they're going on, in terms of unintended consequences.
Yeah,
and it feels like Civil War is going to have a sort of a similar thing where, that Matt Murdock is going through. This is what I wanted to do. Yeah. This is what, and now this other thing is happening, and people are telling me it's because of me, and he doesn't want to accept it.
Well, one of the great realizations that's happened in comics and in storytelling in a lot of ways too is that, like, we all used to make fun of a lot of our entertainment back in the 80s and 90s because it was so ridiculous. And the things that we used to say were the things that they actually address now in a lot of these things. We all used to sit there and say, oh, nobody, they still don't ever run out of bullets. But it's like, oh, what, the cops never come? Oh, like, this building burned down, no one gets in trouble. Like, oh, like, all these crazy...
10 people, all with guns, involved in a shootout, and no one gets hit.
Yeah, and it's not like a thing where, like, the whole city's on lockdown.
Yeah, nobody in the neighborhood hears anything.
Yeah, no one hears anything. There's no fire engines. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was the kind of way, like, a lot of this entertainment was written back in the days where it's like, you'd watch it now and you're like, how are these guys all getting away with this? Like, how is this cop, this one lone maniac, I am the law cop, not getting a talking to? Like, you know what I mean? These kinds of things. And so now to see it, like, kind of reflected in a way where, like, well, that's part of the story now. Because if you want to keep it grounded in the real world, there has to be real world repercussions eventually, even if we kind of wait on it and get to it later.
He gets away for a couple of episodes. And then...
Or even like in the Marvel movies where it's like, okay, now it's all coming to a head in Civil War where it's like, okay, you guys are blowing shit up constantly. No bueno, my friend. Like, no can do. Like, it's good to have that. Batman vs. Superman is going to address those same issues. So to see it kind of not as heavy-handed in this, but it's like, talking about the repercussions and what spins out of events as opposed to it constantly being a thing where all we ever deal with is a new villain, or this kind of thing. It's like something else spurs on the conversations.
Yeah.
It's a relief. It's actually, granted, it seems to be popping up everywhere, but it's kind of like a thank God is another fucking storyline trope that we can have now. Like, it's like, thank God somebody gave me something else because I was getting bored of seeing the same 5 kind of stories. Like, okay, here's another one. But, I'm getting tangential.
Yes.
Thank you for agreeing with me. Anybody else? No. But
I think we covered it. I think next week, hopefully, we have a little bit more time to go in depth on it.
Yeah, I think between all of us, we'll have another week to actually digest the rest of the 13 episodes.
Fair enough.
So we'll have a better assessment, and we'll better be able to talk about things because we don't want to spoil it for the rest of us here.
Yeah, that's the thing. And but overall, obviously. I am a little sad that I am not seeing people freaking out as much on Twitter as I was the first season. Like, as a side note here, because I remember on the Friday that it came out.
It's been what, 36 hours?
But that's my point. Like, when it came out to like Monday, it was everywhere. Granted, it was. Obviously, this is season 2. It's not as new. The fury and the fever isn't as high, maybe. I thought maybe the Punisher would have kind of stoked some of that.
Yeah.
But, like, it didn't stay top trending on Twitter very long, comparatively. And even, for all the nerd stuff that I follow, although I am seeing it, you know what I mean? Because people are doing an updates where it's like, okay, we're up to episode 3. Here's episode 3.
I think a lot of entertainment news outlets find it hard to cover Netflix shows because of the binging. Do you cover the season all at once?
Oh yeah, it's a total question.
Do you do episode by episode reviews and parse them out like one a day?
Our friend Agent Palmer is having an issue with that.
Yeah, I think the safest thing for them to do on that front is just really wait until most people who are going to watch it have watched it all and then comment on it.
Yeah, but you give it 2 weeks, you give it 3 months. Like what's the deal here?
Yeah, I think if you give it, I think you're safe and wisest in giving it about a week. You know what I mean? As far as we go, I think. Yeah. As far as
which means you're averaging 2 a day.
Yeah. Well, I think, but also too, I think as a website, I think you're best off having it come out that first week. It doesn't have to be Monday. You could wait till Wednesday. But as soon as you have all those episodes digested, like you should be writing the article and looking to put it up, in a reasonable amount of time.
So I got to say though, I think overall, based on what I've seen so far this season and having seen all of last season, that the focus is definitely a little different. The city was a big part of the development.
Right.
But a lot more development had to go on because you had to be introduced to everybody in the story. So now this season, the city takes its place as a backdrop.
Hell's Kitchen, you mean?
And that's apparent in the very first episode.
Right. No. Yeah.
Because the imagery of the very first view of the city you get isn't comic book. Doesn't look like it was colored by comic book, but it has a filter on it or something that gives it a coloration that is reminiscent of comic books.
Yeah, I felt it. You pointed it out right away, and I started looking at it that way too. Where it's like they picked a nice.
But then it segued into a more gritty, realistic thing.
Yeah,
but it was subtle. It wasn't like you were looking at a cartoon that faded out as the city imagery came forward.
Yeah, there was this thing where like a lot of the water towers, they're doing this pan shot, and a lot of the water towers at the end of that are cross lit. So it's like the cast green on one side, and there's like an orange cast on the other, orange yellow from the streetlights.
Yeah.
And it was like this weird thing where it's almost surreal. It's almost looks painterly kind of a thing. It
was
really
like,
cool.
It was really cool. Almost looked watercolor.
Something like that.
And so that I think that was intentional.
Sure.
Because now you're seeing the city's taking its place as the backdrop for all the shit that goes on in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And now the characters, instead of getting, like, where last season we got the main bad guy, Wilson Fisk, basically all season.
Right.
We're getting more action with a character like the Punisher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that he's becoming. I don't want to say too much.
Well, you know what it is, though. I'll say this. I'll say this
to
that. To that, I'll say, like, first season felt like it was doing a lot more of build.
Yes,
which
that's where I'm trying to go.
Which they really were, obviously. And where this starts off, we roll right into it.
Right.
We don't waste any time really doing like a lot of hard setup shit.
Right. Like
we get right into it.
I was expecting for like an episode or two.
Yeah.
We were going to hear whispers about the Punisher.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd see him that quick.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd see him that quick. But
cool that we did, man.
Absolutely, because we jumped right into it. So it just the pace is it's a good pace now.
It's good pace. I mean, we're up to episode 5, 6. So it feels like it's on a good track.
Show has a different feel.
Yeah,
but it's not unfamiliar.
All right, and I just want to toss out that we also kind of took a quick look at, there's a Luke Cage teaser that comes up at the end of the season, at the end of the series, only on Netflix at this point. I'm sure it's actually leaked online, which is how we found it and watched it real quick.
Yeah, I found it on YouTube.
But it's a cool little 30-second scene.
Not even
30.
Yeah, it's like 15.
Yeah.
It's a tease.
It's a tease of a tease.
Absolutely.
But looks cool.
Yeah.
Looks cool. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
So if people want to get in touch with us, how would they do that, Bill?
People can get in touch with us, Ed, in a few different ways.
Okay.
One of the ways, the main way, is that they can send an email to podcast@wickedtheory.com. Another way they can get in touch with us, Ed, is on the Twitterverses. On the Twitter. Because you have one, right?
Yeah, I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. They can follow Bob on Twitter at
Bob at WTPC.
They can follow Dom Toy. I mean, he's not here today. But if they want to, they can track him down.
At Dom_Tory.
That's right. TORRE.
And say, yo, Dom, what up? Why weren't you on the show?
Why weren't you on the show, man?
Bill, where can people talk to you?
They can talk to me through the hole in the wall. They can talk to me when I'm down at the psychiatric center and I'm allowed to have visitors.
What's your Twitter handle?
Oh, that specifically is at Wicked Theory. Thanks, buddy.
Sure.
And then what were you going to do right there, Ed? Were you just going to send us out?
No, well...
you were making a motion like you were going to do something.
I don't know. It just felt like we were going in that direction.
Yeah, but you're just going to fucking take it over?
I didn't want Bob to forget to put his microphone by the amp, that's all.
Oh, you were going to... Oh, okay. All right.
Bob's still not sure what he's going to play that.
No, well, I was getting all over red.
Bob's trying to think about that. What am I going to play out today?
What are we doing to get out of this? So as Bob sets up and gets it all good, that's a good, sweet spot. Take us out whenever you want, man. See you next week, people. We'll be here again. Will you?